In one stark moment, Christian King Combs' tearful breakdown in a Manhattan courtroom has become the most unsettling chapter in a saga of hidden allegations.
Wait, look real quick. What is this, Jesse? Because these are new pictures.
So if that
are
is,
these there's
that
people
could
in
be his
handcuffs
sons.
now.
That could be his sons. That could be his sons. Again, if that is accurate, I wouldn't be surprised because the allegations put forward in that lawsuit implicated his sons in different criminal activities.
So these are aerial photos from our helicopter in Los Angeles. It's zoomed in now. This is brand new. And there are, let's see, can we count? It's small. A couple of people in handcuffs, a couple of people on the ground. Looks like two boys in handcuffs there facing the bushes.
And let's be clear, they could be detained while the search warrant is going forward, while the house is being searched. It doesn't necessarily mean they are arrested, but they are currently being detained outside while this is happening.
Do we know anything about the whereabouts of P. Diddy?
As far as I know, no.
Okay.
I saw reports online that suggest they might be looking for him. I don't want to confirm that. I don't know where he is, but clearly, if he was at one of those properties, we may have seen him by now. Now, having said that, we're kind of developing into this story.
Yeah.
The son of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs faced a barrage of revelations that shook a legacy long cloaked in power and secrecy. As every eye fixed on the unfolding scene, the raw emotion in that moment raised pressing questions about truth, accountability, and the true cost of a legacy built on influence.
Well, yeah, I think, it definitely is legendary, but taking it to my generation and, getting all the kids to know about it, that's my age, because you'd be surprised. Some people don't even really know about certain things. Like, they didn't even know, like, that sample was from Lil' Kim and Lil' C. Like, a lot of my friends didn't even know that. Or, like, when they see the video me and Kodak did, we redid the Crush on You Lil' Kim video, they thought I came up with that. So it's like, just putting them on, I feel like we could take it even further, said 20 years from now, still be on top, so.
Earlier in New York, Sean Diddy Combs made headlines by casually wishing onlookers happy holidays, y'all, as he left court. Dressed in a beige smock, his brief farewell was interrupted by marshals, underscoring the tension behind the public gesture. His attempt at a simple goodbye, complete with a nod to his attorneys and a silent exchange with his son, belied a storm of allegations. With federal prosecutors promising to turn over a mountain of evidence by year's end, including data from over 96 seized electronic devices, every detail hinted at a complex case involving charges of racketeering, sex trafficking, and prostitution.
A disgraced hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs back in court today. The rapper appearing in a beige smock and pants for his pretrial hearing. Federal prosecutors are saying that they were on track to disclose all of the available evidence to the defense by the end of the year. Well, Diddy has been held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn following his arrest in September in a federal sex trafficking case. Last week, Combs abandoned what was his fourth attempt to get released on bail. Joining me for more on this is ABC News senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky. So, Aaron, I know you just essentially left that courtroom. So what do we know about today's hearing?
Well, the prosecutors said they would disclose every piece of evidence that's in their possession by the end of the year. So by December 31st, the defense should have everything. And then the case is going to move toward trial in the spring of next year. Before that, the defense says it wants some clarity from the prosecutors about the scope of Combs's alleged criminal conduct, because right now, defense attorney Mark Agnifilo said the racketeering allegations that Combs faces, the defense believes are a little vague. Beyond that, Kana, the trial set for May 5th is on, and if there are going to be any additional charges, prosecutors today did not tip their hand, only telling the judge that any additional charges that are brought would not involve a lot of discovery, meaning there wouldn't be a lot of additional evidence.
Then, in another twist and turn, the children do walk in, but this time it was a lot smaller bunch than it was the last time. So last time you're having all of Diddy's children, except with the exception of Love, who is just a 2-year-old child, so she wasn't at court. But you had all of Diddy's children there except Love. But this time around, you just had Justin Combs and Christian Combs, meaning that there was no Quincy there today. Delilah and Jesse weren't there, Chance wasn't there, and the caretakers of his younger children who aren't of age just yet, they were not present inside the courtroom as well today. But his mom also wasn't in court today. So when Diddy came inside, it was still that standard issued MDC jumpsuit. He's wearing khaki. From that video of, I think that was obtained by Daily Mail back in September, of Diddy playing hacky sack in Central Park, to now he appeared just astonishingly thinner, which you can expect to be inside a federal detention center for a couple months now. A lot different from the luxury lifestyle that he was living before, but he appeared very noticeably thinner, and maybe being locked up in detention is starting to wear on him. He appeared grayer a little bit as well too, but again, he appeared just like how you would expect Diddy to appear for a hearing. He, when he came inside the courtroom, he hugged his attorneys. He especially hugged Anthony Rico. Then he had hugged Alexandra Shapiro as well too. But then he kept kind of looking at the gallery. Now again, this was at a point where Diddy's sons, Justin and Christian, weren't inside the courtroom just yet, but instead, whenever they came inside the courtroom, and again, this was after Diddy was already sitting down at the defense table, he looked back immediately, he smiled, he beamed up, he waved at at his two sons, and just kind of gave them kind of a little bit of, it's a good to see you type of feeling. That's what I was gathering from inside that courtroom.
Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson emphasized the painstaking review of terabytes of digital data, underscoring the scale of the inquiry. The evidence includes details from a series of alleged freak-offs, orchestrated encounters where Diddy is accused of coercing women into controlled performances. The indictment alleges that explicit recordings were made during these encounters, later used as collateral to keep victims silent. Additional claims detail physical abuse, with reports of victims being hit, kicked, and dragged by their hair, while supplies like narcotics and thousands of bottles of lubricant were seized from his Miami and Los Angeles residences.
Look, a little bit more about evidence here, talking about strong evidence. Apparently, investigators collected a lot of electronic data, which can be crucial in a case like this. We talked about it, but the prosecution writes in their bail letter, the electronic evidence is similarly vast. The government has sought and obtained numerous search warrants for such evidence, in addition to obtaining evidence voluntarily from certain victims and witnesses. Setting aside devices seized in connection with the government's arrest, the government has obtained over 90 cell phones, laptops, cloud storage accounts, as well as over 30 other electronic and storage devices, such as hard drives, thumb drives, cameras, and a surveillance system. This electronic data comes from the defendant himself, as well as co-conspirators, victims, and witnesses, and chronicles much of the defendant's criminal activity as it occurs. And the government also sent out subpoenas to all sorts of companies and associates connected to Combs. It says, quote, finally, the evidence includes records obtained pursuant to over 300 grand jury subpoenas and other voluntary productions. These materials come from over 100 entities and individuals, including communications providers, tech companies, social media companies, banks, and other financial institutions, airlines, hotels, car services, and other travel-related companies, escort services, and even the defendant's companies and wealth management firm. So, that is a lot.
Well, and I believe the Homeland Security investigations are leading this investigation. And frankly, they're very good at what they do. So, and I'm sure they have a team or even a task force looking at this, because the alleged criminal conspiracy is so vast and there's so many victims. So what I would expect is, once they get through this evidence, the evidence, it appears to be overwhelming, because you're going to see all the text messages, all of his statements that are going to incriminate himself with all of these people. And frankly, this has been going on for so long. I think there was a comfort level that he had, or his circle had, where they thought they weren't going to get caught. They could just continue to do this. And then frankly, that the hammer fell. So there's so much here that if there was going to be a trial, it would likely be something that would take months in terms of presenting all of this evidence.
Amid the unfolding investigation, the focus shifted to a more personal narrative. Christian Combs, the eldest son, arrived at Manhattan's federal court and joined a group of 7 men in the arraignment room. Each received a copy of the 14-page indictment unsealed that September morning. The document detailed shocking allegations against his father, claiming Diddy orchestrated freak-offs by arranging, directing, and recording explicit encounters, It also accuses him of using these recordings as leverage to keep victims compliant. The indictment portrays a calculated effort to safeguard his reputation at any cost, setting the stage for a legal battle that has already captivated public attention.
In about 30 minutes, we're going to hear from the U.S. Attorney's Office. They're going to be holding a press conference right down the street. And according to Mark Agnifilo, one of the attorneys for Sean Diddy Combs, who you just saw moments ago speaking to reporters outside of the courthouse, he had said that Combs was actually inside. He's waiting to be arraigned. We still don't have a time for that. I just want to say, look, I'm holding the indictment right here. And they talk about how Combs' alleged abuse was verbal, emotional, physical, sexual, and it goes on to talk about these freak-offs, these sex parties where Sean Combs allegedly manipulated women to be a part of these highly orchestrated sexual performances with also commercial sex workers that he allegedly flew from out of the country and also within the United States across state lines. And also, it wasn't just female sex workers, it was male sex workers as well. They claim that Sean Combs would also videotape these sex workers and use it as blackmail against them to continue to keep them either silenced and afraid, and also would sometimes withhold payment. They talk about kidnapping, arson. There's a litany of accusations in here. And again, it will be interesting to see what authorities say at this press conference. Remember, NBC News was first to report that over the summer, a grand jury was hearing evidence from alleged accusers, and that also, remember, his homes were raided, both in Florida and in California, and this was last spring.
The courtroom scene grew increasingly charged as Christian, surrounded by his peers, struggled to hold back his emotions. His attorney, Aaron Dyer, presented the damning details of the indictment with clinical precision. In that moment, Christian's stoic demeanor broke down, revealing the personal cost of a legacy steeped in controversy. His visible vulnerability raised difficult questions about whether this emotional collapse was a truthful reaction to years of family secrets or simply the weight of an overwhelming legal battle. That brief breakdown transformed the courtroom into a stage for raw human emotion and underscored the deep scars left by decades of alleged abuse and exploitation.
An attorney representing Sean Diddy Combs says federal agents who raided two of the music mogul's homes were hostile. The attorney claims the agents mistreated Combs' children and employees while conducting the raids on Monday. Agents searched Diddy's homes in Los Angeles and Miami. The raids happened as part of an investigation into allegations of sex trafficking. And sources tell NBC News agents found guns within the homes. It's not clear what type of guns were found or who owns them. Neither Diddy nor any of his family members have been arrested.
Meanwhile, additional legal challenges have thrust Christian into an even more complicated spotlight. A lawsuit filed by former stewardess Grace O'Marquez accuses him of sexual assault and misconduct during a tumultuous yacht trip. The complaint details an incident in which Christian allegedly cornered her in a confined space and exposed himself, prompting her to flee. Although his legal team has dismissed the allegations as baseless, the timing of these claims intensifies the scrutiny on the Combs family. This lawsuit adds another layer to a narrative already defined by controversy and unresolved questions.
So according to the lawsuit, O'Marquez says that she had been working as a steward, providing food and drinks on that yacht for a 12-hour period, and she was 25 years old at the time. She believed that the trip would be a, quote, wholesome family excursion, but says it, quote, turned into a hedonistic environment, even describing rampant drug use among sex workers and celebrities who came on board. She believes that the alcohol on the yacht had been laced with drugs because she says women would have one drink and then almost immediately pass out or start falling over. This is, by the way, something that it was also alleged in Jones's lawsuit, that Combs would spike the drinks of different people. But focusing on Christian Combs, O'Marquez says that Christian Combs had been staying at a villa on the shore, but that he would come onto the yacht in the evening to party. And on December 28, 2022, Christian reportedly arrived very intoxicated and then proceeded to pressure O'Marquez to take shots of tequila. She did. Christian allegedly tried to get her to drink more in the yacht's makeshift studio. O'Marquez alleges that Christian kissed her neck, kissed her face, as he groped her legs, breasts, and private areas. Well, Markey reportedly told Christian, quote, "Excuse me, you don't touch my legs like that. I'll move my legs where I want to. If I want to do this, then I will. You don't touch my legs like that." Her attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, said after this lawsuit was filed, quote, "Like father, like son, it gives us no joy or pleasure in filing this suit against Christian Combs, who has clearly adopted his father's pattern and practice of depravity." So far, there has been no response from Christian or his attorney at the time of this lawsuit.
The interplay between public image and the relentless search for truth lies at the heart of this unfolding story. While Sean Diddy Combs has long epitomized success and influence in the music industry, the mounting evidence against him is steadily eroding that polished persona. Every detail, from his offhand "Happy Holidays" remark to the exhaustive indictment, serves as a stark reminder that no legacy is immune to scrutiny. The revelations force us to question whether a legacy built on power and celebrity can withstand the brutal weight of incontrovertible evidence, or if it is destined to crumble under its own contradictions.
They better press the right nigga. Nigga gonna put them on their back pockets. I got love. Like, I'm gonna tell it like this. I respect, what's the red one? Lil Wolf. That nigga. Cause it's like, if he can't tell, you different, little nigga. And I respect it, cause I look back, I be watching him like, damn, that nigga like his daddy. You feel me? That's a real gangster. He don't even understand why he moved differently from them the little fruit. Like he don't understand why Quincy like soft like that, why Christian a little laid back. That's their real daddy, Christian, Justin or whatever Justin, because that's their real father. They have his genes, the scariness, you are pressing everything. You are the aggressor in everything. You saw how he addressed Chopper? It's cause the little gangster. He born with that like my son. That's born in you, little fool. You look like your daddy. You can't, like, nigga. Your daddy was a gangster, nigga. He was the nigga who did the real shit. I know you wouldn't sit here and call Puff your dad, but nigga, be for real, nigga. Like, I'm a man, my nigga. I look at it and go look at the nigga picture, man. You hear me? Ain't no idea. Puffy ain't got a damn bit of you in him, man. Go look at that nigga picture, man. You wear a bit of wolf, the way you carry yourself, the manner. So I be having a little respect for that nigga when he be handling his business. I'm just glad he knew what gangsters to press, you know what I'm saying? Because he could have been a little homie.
As the trial looms on May 5th, legal experts and the public are left with a growing sense of unease. Court proceedings have evolved into an examination of systemic abuse, where the power to silence is wielded with chilling efficiency. Defense attorney Mark Anafilo has criticized the vague nature of the racketeering charges, emphasizing the difficulty of prosecuting crimes that span decades. With each new testimony and piece of forensic evidence, the boundary between fact and fabrication blurs, leaving us to wonder if this trial will finally reveal the full scope of a legacy built on exploitation and control. In the midst of this relentless legal battle, the image of Diddy's son breaking down in court remains a stark symbol of a legacy in turmoil. It is more than an emotional moment. It is a pivotal chapter that exposes the hidden crimes behind a celebrated name. Is Christian's collapse the final piece in a puzzle that could redefine the Combs legacy? Or does it signal the start of an even deeper investigation into power and abuse? One thing is clear: the truth is emerging, and this story is far from over. Stay tuned. So, like, subscribe, and hit notifications. Every update brings us closer to the complete truth.